Good day, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Q&A Social Security Disability Today. As always, I'm attorney Anthony Reeves, and I'm glad that you are continuing to send me questions. You're keeping me on my toes, and as always, it's my pleasure to answer them for you. I just wanted to kind of give you a heads up. I've had a number of people who have sent me questions, and as always, I appreciate those questions. However, I have been informed by a couple of people that they have representatives, whether they be non attorney or attorney reps. Let me be the first to tell you that while I enjoy your questions and keep them coming, as a representative myself and as an attorney myself, I want to strongly encourage you going to your representative first. Now, before you start hollering about, well, they don't get back with me soon enough, and and I can email you and you can give me the answer to the question. Well, let's be real here. You hired them for the purposes of doing this, among all the other things of helping you get your benefits, to answer questions for you. This is a good time for you to take the opportunity to dialogue with them. So, for those of you who have representatives, I don't think I'm telling you don't contact me, because I do enjoy the correspondence. But if I know you have a representative, don't take it personally if I tell you that you should contact them first, because that's the reason why you hire them. And out of respect for what they do, I have a strong preference and a policy that I'm going to direct you to your representative first. All right. Now that we've gotten the disclaimer out of the way, let's get to our question. Got a couple, not very many, but I have to say they're slightly complicated, so I want to make sure I go over them accordingly. First question: I'm going to settle my workers' comp, meaning workers' compensation case, next week with my lawyer. Will that affect my Social Security benefits even if I settle before my hearing, and let's say I win my Social Security? Now, here's the thing that most people fail to realize. There are two components for Social Security. First of all, let me give you the short answer. Will this affect your Social Security benefits if you win? Yes, it will, hands down. Now, how it will has a huge bearing on a variety of things. What kind of case you have, whether it be disability insurance benefits program, whether it be SSI, disabled widows, whatever the case may be. How much you get in that settlement, whether you're getting benefits already from workers' comp, whether you're going to get a large lump sum. It has a lot to do with your age, how old you are, because of course, the older you are, if you get a lump sum, the lower the dollar amount over that lifetime. Because basically, when you get a large lump sum of workers' comp, for purposes of Social Security, what they do is they calculate out how much that would be if you received it on a monthly basis throughout your average life expectancy, which I believe is 75 for a man and 78 for a woman. So the first question is, to answer your question, is yes, it's going to have an impact. But here's the other thing that you need to be aware of. There are two components for any Social Security case. There's the medical portion and there's the technical portion. For purposes of your medical portion, if you get a workers' comp settlement, the fact that you got a settlement in of itself will probably have no impact on your case. Now, the medical records that you obtain or that you get, or the treatment you get while you're going through the workers' comp process, now that's going to be helpful to you. But in terms of the fact that you settled it, is that going to have any bearing on the fact that you're going through the disability process? No, not from the medical standpoint. It only becomes an issue once you go into the technical, which means how they calculate your benefits. And that's a whole different beast. Now, the second part of it is, will they take money from that or no? Not an easy question to answer, but I'm going to be very blunt. They won't take any money out of your Social Security. That's not typically how it works. It's what we call an offset, which means what will happen is they're probably going to reduce the amount of money you get, possibly, for Social Security based on the money that you get from workers' comp. It's what we call the workers' comp offset. The two programs operate in conjunction with each other, and if you ever want me to do a broadcast specifically on that, I tell you, a lot of attorneys who do Social Security, when we talk about workers' comp, it gets funky because the calculations are really kind of weird. I'll be more than happy to, but just note for this, for purposes of today's discussion, if you get a workers' comp settlement, there is a possibility of an offset. For those of you who mean, what do you mean by an offset? That means that based on how much you actually made during your working period of time, how much you're getting in Social Security, and how much you get in your workers' comp, there is a possibility that your Social Security will be reduced because of the workers' comp. And it doesn't matter whether it's SSI or DIB. It's what we call that workers' comp offset. So keep that in the back of your mind. So to answer your question, They won't take any money. They're probably not going to take any money out of your check, but you're going to see a reduction in benefits. And they'll. The nice thing about Social Security is when they give you your awards notice, they'll give you a breakdown. So they'll show you how they got to their dollar numbers. All right. Now, next question. I'm 28 years old and I have rheumatoid arthritis and my left hip has no cartilage. Can I apply for Social Security disability? The first answer to that is everyone has a right to apply for Social Security disability if they so choose. Now, this is the thing that most attorneys will say. Can you apply, or excuse me, representatives, my apologies. Can you apply for Social Security? Absolutely. Do you qualify for Social Security? That's a different story. Will you be approved for disability? That's a different story altogether. So I always tell people when you ask the question, can you apply? I say, sure, you can always apply. There's nothing keeping you from applying. The question really you want to know is what is the likelihood of me getting approved if I apply? And that's not an easy question to answer because a lot of things come into play. For instance, in the example that was provided to me about the 28-year-old with rheumatoid arthritis, you're 28 years old, so it's presumed under the regulations you're considered a younger individual. So the idea is that you should be able to reintegrate into the workforce fairly easy because you're young. Well, there's a couple of things we got to look at. You got rheumatoid arthritis. Are you getting treated for it? Taking any medication? Any therapy? Any shots? Any x-rays? Any CTs? MRIs? You said your left hip has no cartilage. What do you mean by it has no cartilage? You mean it's been removed, it's been ground down? Are they talking about total hip replacement? Or have they discussed it? Are they going to do it? Are you still going for treatment? Are you in physical therapy? Are you going to a rheumatologist? Are you in pain management? Are you going to an orthopedist? Or are you going to a chiropractor? Now, I know you're sitting going, good Lord, you're going through all those things. Well, all of those things are things that Social Security is going to want to know. And of course, the more important question is, does it keep you from work? Is it keep, the fact that you have rheumatoid arthritis, is it painful? How painful is, how often does the pain affect you? At the end of the day, does this keep you from working for 12 months or more? Have you had it for a while? Have you tried to go out and do things and you haven't been able to? All those things come into play. So the short answer to your question is this. Can you apply for disability? Absolutely. Are you going to qualify for it or get approved for it? Different story. Everyone's stocks are different. All right, everyone. As always, it's my honor and pleasure to have you here. If you have any questions, you know where you can reach me. I'll give you a couple of good spots. legalbeat.anthonyreeves.com. Good place to go. I have a lot of different blog posts that I'm discussing. I'm actually going to be writing one today talking about a recent investigation going on in one of the areas, I believe is Puerto Rico, that was released by the Wall Street Journal, talking about investigating fraud. So keep an eye out for that. You can always hit me up right here by sending me messages. You can always hit me up at Anthony@reevesfirm.com if you have any questions. As always, it's my pleasure to have you. Keep the questions coming, and I look forward to talking to you next week. And in case I haven't mentioned, as you go through my videos, if you notice that I kind of talked about a topic that you'd like for me to go into detail, send me a message and say, hey, because typically I do my regular question and answer on Sundays. But if you have a specific one where you're like, hey, Attorney Reeves, you talked about the trial work program or the workers' comp offset or the VA, could you take a special video and do it in detail? I've had a few people who've actually asked me to do that, which I've tried to oblige. So if anything that you hear catches your attention but you want more detail, by all means, just give me a shout out. I'll make it happen. As always, have a wonderful day, everyone. Look forward to seeing you here again next week.